All right, well, that's good to know. Anyway, we're going to talk about Mortal Kombat 11 today. I'm sure that all of you guys saw the reveal, or a lot of you guys probably saw the reveal, and you guys are excited about it. You guys are interested about it. You guys are hating on it. You guys are fucking all over the place about it, right? If you guys don't know, I couldn't go to the reveal. I was invited to go out there in LA and go to the reveal, check it out, which is super, super, super awesome. I appreciate NRS. They have always been one of the best at doing things like this. They're so good at listening to the people in the community and making adjustments accordingly, right? They invited me out there to go check out the game. I had jury duty, so I couldn't make it. Feels civic duty, man. I got stuck in the courtroom. By the time I got out, it was like 2:30, so I couldn't make it. But they're gonna have a beta playable soon, which I'll participate in, and the game comes out in April. I'm pretty patient. There's lots of other shit to do in the meantime, right? I'm gonna be doing Dragon Ball finals. I'll be in Evo Japan after that. Then final round in NCR is coming up, and then suddenly Mortal Kombat will be out. There's a lot to talk about. So first and foremost is the visuals. Visually, I think the game looks great. I think visually the game looks really, really good. And I don't just mean like in terms of how the models look and the lighting and stuff like that. I think also a lot of the animations look much better than previous NRS games. There's definitely some weight put into some of the animations, right? And MK11 is surprisingly bright as a game, right? There's a lot of interesting visuals and the colors are really good, like how bright Scorpion is. I feel like when I go back and watch MKX, because I've been watching MKX lately since everybody's been playing it, when I go back and watch it, it surprises me how colorful it looks compared to that game. I feel like that game has like Gears of War syndrome, where everything's just a little bit drab and grayish. It doesn't pop like this game. This game looks bright. As far as like the game goes, what they've changed to the mechanics, what they've changed to general strategy that you use in the game, and like how they've sort of changed things to make people play a different way, I think is surprising. I didn't expect kind of the changes that they had done to the game. So one of the big ones, obviously, or probably the biggest, is the meter. Previously in NRS games, the way meter worked was you had stocks of meter that you could spend, right? You built up meter over time, and you built up meter by, you know, attacking someone or blocking moves or whatever, right? You just built it up as things went. And in this game, they've kind of done what Rising Thunder did and what other fighting games are tending to do, which is they've gone to a meter-based system where it's just a meter that builds up over time. It's a rechargeable meter, right? So let's say you have 2 stocks and it costs, you know, 1 stock to do an EX move. I think I'm gonna sneeze. Nope. Okay. So they've changed it so that it's like you have 2 stocks now, and you know you use one of them to use an EX move. And then when you wait over time, it recharges back up and you can use it again. There are some things that cost like half a stock, and there are some things that cost like a full bar, right? So it just depends on, you know, what you're doing, what move, whether it's defensive or not. It's like a cooldown system. And I think fighting games sort of have moved towards this a little bit, like Rising Thunder did this, and other games have started to do that. And I think that's because it maybe feels more familiar to people who play other games. A lot of other games have cooldown systems, right? If you think about MOBAs, if you think about, I feel like almost every other game has like hero shooters like Overwatch and stuff. Like almost every other game now has cooldowns for all the system, right? Just like it's cool now that Yoshoki has hit me with the Twitch Prime. Thanks very much. That's just how it works in most games. You have cooldowns on all your different moves and everything. Let's say your character has 3 special moves. One of them as an enhanced move gets you in. It's like a safe move that gets you in. You know what I mean? It's like a shoulder tackle. And when you amplify it, you're safe on block, right? But your other EX moves, or your amplified moves, whatever they're called, meter burn moves, because it's an NRS game. The other meter burn moves are mix-up moves or combo launching moves. So you have to make that decision about, like, do I spend my bar to get in safely, or do I walk and block, and then once I get in, use it on something else? And you also have to decide, like, if you can get in with it and it hits them, and then on their wake up, they use a defensive meter to, like, roll, or they use the defensive meter for the wake up attack or something else like that. Is that a reward for your character? You have to think about the resource management a little differently. The one concern that I have about recharging meters is that the balance with them can be an issue with meters that recharge extremely quickly, or EX moves that create space or slow down the match. Because if you have a meter burn move, right, that is like a fireball and it goes boom, boom, and pushes them back or something, right? Or on hit, it knocks them down. If you just use that move, and then by the time they get up, dash back in, you throw another fireball, they're forced to block that, and then your meter's back, it's suddenly like, oh man, this character's just spending their bar to do this all day. And once you get in, they're going to have their defensive meter, or something like that. You have to think about the design a little differently than normal meter building in a fighting game. Not to say that NRS won't do a good job of it, but that's just something that you have to think about. That's different from like normal meter design in most fighting games, right? So yeah, the way they balance that is going to be very interesting, I think. As far as like the crushing blow goes, and as far as the fatal blow goes, I think the designs are very interesting. In particular, I like the crushing blow design where what we've learned about it, and I watched this in a ketchup and mustard video I didn't hear anybody talk about it at the event. One of the activations for a crushing blow is if you do 1-1-2, with most characters, 1-1-2 is like, just 3 jabs, and you can usually special cancel it. And they were using the example of Baraka, and it was basically like, yeah, if 1-1-2 hits and you don't have a crushing blow, then the 1-1-2 doesn't really lead to that much. But if you have a crushing blow on the 1-1-2, it leads to like a full combo. And the way the crushing blow activates is if you punish something with a 1-1-2. But their example was like, well, what if you're down like 80% life, and this 1-1-2 is going to hit as a punish, but you're just not, you're just like, I don't know if I want to spend it yet. There's an option that you can turn on that allows you to use the crushing blow or not. So for you to use the crushing blow, you'd have to meet the requirement, like use a move that punishes, and you'd have to hold down the button to activate it. So they use an example that's Baraka has 2 crushing blows that work on a punish. So they do 1-1-2. They don't activate the crushing blow. They do the combo by spending an enhanced move, launching somebody up. They're continuing the combo, and then they do a string, like I think 4-3-4 was the string, and that also activates on a crushing blow for a punish. So then they do let that part play out. So you can choose to not activate one crushing blow but activate another, or not activate both, or whatever you want to do, which I think is a really interesting design choice because it makes you think about your crushing blows as like limited time use in the match. Besides the normal management you have of offensive and defensive meters, you have the management of your crushing blow and how often you want to use those. And it's also the management of your fatal blow, which is like the X-ray mechanic. In previous NRS games, most X-rays weren't seen that very much. They're super moves, right? Most of the super moves weren't seen very much. It was pretty rare if they were, because you have to spend your resources on so many different things that usually saving up for it wasn't worth it. And you didn't build, your EX moves were so good. Like if you're Kung Lao and you do your 1-1-2 string and then you get the meter burn hat, you're plus 27, you run them to the corner, you just start doing 1-1-2 again. Why would you spend that on an X-ray? So now the fatal blow works like a Tekken Rage Art, where you get it when you're at 30% life. It does a shit ton of damage. And if you hit with it, you lose it for the rest of the game. So you have to decide when you're going to use it. Am I going to use it at the start of the game or on the first round to make a comeback? Will I use it on the second round to try to close it out? Will I use it on the third round, etc., right? Most of the time, I imagine people will use it either to make a first round comeback if it's going to kill somebody, or a first or second round comeback if it's going to kill somebody, or a third, like save it for the third round. Will probably be a lot of the decision making. What I think is interesting is that it comes back even if you whiff it. That surprised me, because I think it's going to mean that a lot of people, when they're low on life, if it'll kill, they're just going to throw it out, because if it hits and it'll kill you, great. If it's blocked and I die for it, well, I get it back next round, so it doesn't matter. That's like an interesting decision people are going to have to make about it. Back to the crushing blows too. What I thought was interesting is that a lot of the offense in this game seems to have been changed or normalized in a way that they don't reward 50-50 overhead low mix-ups as much as they used to. And the crushing blows are kind of their design choice, I think, to make the offense still feel explosive and to still make the mix-ups feel really potent and stuff. So there was a crushing blow example that was like Garrus, the grappler, has like a 1-1-2, and it's like a high mid-mid. So the third hit's a mid, right? And in Mortal Kombat games, if you duck and you don't block, you're crouching, so highs will whiff over you and you can punish. So there was an example that's like, yeah, he can do 1-1-2, and the crushing blow activation is if you get hit by that mid while you're neutral ducking. But if you stand block, he can do 1-1 running command throw, which is a high. So the mix up there is 1-1-2, which is the mid, or 1-1 empty into the command throw. And if you try to duck it, you can get crushing blowed by the 2 into good damage. So I think that the crushing blow is probably how they'll make some of the mix-ups still feel very potent in like big moments where they need to make a comeback and stuff for some characters. And I think for other characters, it'll be like more defensive if that's their playstyle, right? Maybe like making their footsie buttons launch once or something if they counter hit you, or if they hit you during a dash or something. They'll have different activation points that reward that playstyle of that character. So on to the kind of way they've changed things a little bit. One thing that's interesting is that there's no run anymore. And so mobility seems a little bit slower in terms of fast horizontal movement. The main thing you have is walking. Jumps look a little floaty, and the block dashing doesn't seem that fast. Dashes in general seem a little slow. So because of that, a lot of it's walking and blocking, playing very like patient on the ground, which a lot of the players there were like, yeah, this is sick, neutral. But I wonder how long that'll last. Everybody in fighting games thinks they want neutral until they play it for 10 hours and realize that sometimes you just have to rip someone's head off. You know what I mean? There are very few players. There's this weird perception about neutral that like, yeah, the best way to be a good fighting game player, you have to just play super sick neutral and whiff punish and footsies, bro. And that's not true at all. I mean, like, if you want to just kill somebody and just get in and mix them up, and that's the way you like to play, that's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that. There's this weird, like, honorable perception about playing neutral and footsies being the best thing. And I don't think that's necessarily true. I think every game to be fun and interesting needs a balance of playstyles. I don't know why it's so popular that like playing footsies makes you like such a good player. Oh man, you can only be really good if your footsies and whip punishing are so perfect. But it's like, yeah, shut the fuck up. Nobody cares. All right, so if a character doesn't have a run now, if their jumps are floaty, if the only way they can get in is walk speed, but projectiles have good pushback, and the other opponent, you have to think, NRS games don't have proximity guard. So it's very easy for them to walk backwards out of whatever attack you're doing and try to whiff punish you. So I think dashes, I think everybody agrees, need to be a little faster, a little bit more potent. Like checking dashes is something you have to do, and that's you know, kind of like the way you have to think about that. I hope that the dashes get sped up a little bit. I hope there's a little bit more kind of movement options besides just like the typical walk and block, because that'll just become too much of a grind too fast against some of the kind of stuff that's in NRS games. You know, you gotta have good mobility. If you don't have a run, that's fine, but fast dashes I think is probably important. In the topic of blocking, there's a perfect block now, or like an IB that's in the game, where if you block on like the perfect frame, or you get like the frame perfect block, you get less chip damage on what you're blocking, and also you get less block stun, I think they said. So moves, flawless block, that's what it's called. So moves that are, you know, normally safe or plus might be more negative now, or moves that are normally like borderline safe, right? Like, you know, if the fastest normal is 5 and they're -4 or something, then when you perfect block them or flawless block them, they'll be -6 and you can punish them now or something. So I think that's a pretty interesting mechanic to reward people who have good defense, because sometimes in NRS games in particular, you just get locked down for a long time and your options to escape are pretty weak. In particular now, because it doesn't seem like there's any armor. There's not as many armored options, right? Only on Wake Up do you really have them. So I think that gives you better options to escape pressure than before. I think that's a cool idea, particularly in like a game like this where people are like unblocking to try to like get the perfect block, right? So they're let go of block, unblock, reblock, and they're just doing this over and over to try to perfect block, and you see that. As an offensive player, you can be like, oh, he's trying to perfect block, throw. They tried to change some of the offense to be like some of the characters in MKX. So if you guys remember a character like Katana in MKX, right, where her overhead, or like her back two or whatever, just splatted you to the ground. She had a low launcher, she had good frame traps, but her overhead just put you on the ground. It didn't lead to a full combo. And I think a lot of the design is to make a lot of characters like that. If they have an overhead and they have a low, then the low will launch for a full combo, and the overhead will just splat them down and do like 10% damage. So the incentive is basically to just take the overhead and just low block all day. And I think that makes sense. Besides characters who are mix-up heavy characters, you don't want a character to have super far-ranging buttons, super crazy mix-ups, really good projectiles, really good wake-up. You don't want a character to just have all those options if in a game like NRS games. And I think the characters that end up being the best are usually like that, right? They can just compete in any aspect that they want to compete in. So it looks like they're trying to be like, all right, well, if Scarlet is a footsie and zoning monster, we can't give her an overhead and a low that launches as well. So there, yeah, in the game, there was Sonya who had good 50-50s and like our standing reset and all this, but it was like unsafe, you know? unsafe that when she did it, and her neutral wasn't like as good as a character like Scarlet or Raiden or somebody else that we saw, right? Raiden was teleporting around and throwing lightning bolts and shit, and like I was like, man, this character's zoning looks so good, and this guy Sonic Fox was walking and blocking. He was like, I'll get in there eventually, and he just fucking opened him up. I was like, oh no, he's dead. So that's, I think, what you need. You know what I mean? You need characters like Sonya who have 50-50s that are real. And you need characters that can just zone, but don't also have launching overhead and lows. So I'm happy about that. Some other interesting changes, they have a short hop now that you can do at a neutral jump. Like they have the neutral short hop that is a low crush. I think that'll be interesting because people will use it. In NRS games, throwing someone is good because it's a block button game, right? In this game, they've made throw teching a little easier. I've heard, I don't know if that's true or not, obviously. But I've heard some people say that throw teching seems a little easier. You still have to guess which way they're throwing you. But I've heard that throw teching is a little easier. The other thing I've heard is that, or the other thing about like short hops and stuff like that, is waking up jump in NRS games tends to be good against people who are trying to throw you. And with the wake up roll being an option, the wake up roll is strike invincible, but you can throw it. So people are going to walk up and try to throw you because they're going to read your roll. And then you're going to wake up with a short hop into a combo, or wake up with a neutral jump into a combo. They don't have neutral jump punches that launch like they did in MKX. God, fucking Quan Chi just fucking boom, pop you on the head. You're just like, oh my God. Wake up, neutral jump punch. Whew, that shit. Oh, I have a heart attack just thinking about it. Man, it hurts. So the short hops seem interesting, and some of them you can get combos out of, they said, which is cool. The other thing that I think is interesting is there's not a traditional breaker in the game. They have like the armored flip out option, kind of like Injustice, I think, right? I haven't seen almost anybody use it yet. I think I saw it like one. Interesting, yeah, that somebody brought that up. Teching the wrong way leads to a crushing blow on some throws, which do like 25% or something crazy. That's interesting as well, right? Because sometimes I imagine if you're low on life, and you know they're gonna throw you, or if you have a lead and you know they're gonna throw you, you might not even want to try to tech because you're like, well, I don't want to get crushed if I tech wrong and eat 30%. I think a lot of people are concerned about the defensiveness of the game, right? That's a topic I keep hearing brought up a lot. I kind of thought the same thing based on how the meter recharges and based on how far the normals were and based on how slow the mobility is. But I think that it makes sense how they've adjusted the game, because if you remember what MKX was like, it was just the game was so fast. Like, it's not like there's no zoning in MKX or no footsies in MKX, but a lot of the game is very frightening because of how fast the characters are. Like, I think this is a direct response. In a lot of ways, you think about Street Fighter V and how, like, the way the Oki works and everything is different than Street Fighter 4 as a response to people hating or, you know, being frustrated by getting knocked down into left, right, into Vortex, and etc. I think this is a direct response to like the MKX and also probably Injustice, because Injustice is a more defensive style of game usually than MK. This is like the response to be like, all right, let's not make it as crazy as MKX. I think what will likely happen is people will speed up or NRS will speed up the dashes a bit. And of the characters we've seen so far, almost all of them have been rather defensive, or not defensive, rather like neutral heavy characters. The only character we really saw, I think, that seems like a super offensive character was Sonya. And maybe Garrus too, but he's a grappler, so he's got to play slow. So I think when people are a little concerned about the mobility, I don't think that's going to be a problem, to be honest. I think that it's pretty likely they'll speed up dashes. And I think the game, to me, will speed up as people run better offense and as people learn better setups and they learn how to like optimize the crushing blows and they learn good combos with fatal blow, and they have like better combos in general. When a game first starts, zoning will always be really powerful because doing down back 2 and throwing a lightning bolt is way easier than learning real combos, learning real offense, like learning how to put you in those kinds of situations. Once you learn optimal offense, which will happen very fast, offense is the quickest thing everybody learns. Then people will have to learn defense after. So like in terms of what people know how to do immediately, it's walk back and whiff punish and throw lightning bolts or whatever projectile they have. When people understand how to do bigger combos, run better offense, force the 50-50s that you just have to guess in, and, you know, have like safe jumps or option selects to deal with different defensive options, then you're going to start to see people get run over. I think what's interesting about this is because they've tried such a new or underexplored method of doing moves and stuff with the rechargeable meter, that it's going to take some time for them to figure out the right balance for it. NRS games always have really strong offense. Even their most defensive games have really good offense. And also, if you think about the archetypes they showed off early, the only one that's like super aggressive really is probably Sonya, and she just mauled everybody when Sonic Fox got in. I love NRS games, so they've got me already. Their games are I like them too much. They're in my heart. Which MKX characters do I expect to see there? Well, the ninjas, and you know, the normal characters you always see in MK games: Liu Kang, Kung Lao, Katana. Who else is like a staple? Probably Ermac, Melina. You know, like the normal, like you just expect to see those characters. The first 6 that they show, Kano probably. The first like 6 that they show features a lot of characters that are always there. Johnny Cage, the robots. The removal of armor is going to make characters with good frame traps really difficult to deal with. It's also going to mean that people's defensive options have to change, right? I think you're going to still see a lot of people neutral jumping out of pressure or poking and just getting eaten alive. When you get in, you should be rewarded, and I think the armor change is a bigger change than people realize, because although people are like, man, it's going to be so hard to get in and stuff, once you do get in, I think that the lack of options to just escape is going to make it tough, right? Guest character, I think most people think it's going to be Spawn, right? But the thing about NRS is that I feel like it's so hot. Like John Wick is who I would say. John Wick's going to be a guest character. Because the honest answer is like, how the fuck am I supposed to know? They always pick some crazy shit. Yeah, Scooby-Doo. And it's always cool, isn't it? I feel like NRS delivers some random shit, and I'm like, damn, this is kind of tight. Shaggy Verde, Scooby-Doo. It's going to be a bunch of shit like that. Have you ever thought about yourself as a fighting game character, like what your moveset would be? I was telling Ricksta that as a character, I'd probably play Ricksta. This motherfucker Ricksta would be so cheap. Because he's got a low hurt box. You can't hit his bitch ass. He's so little, not as little as the maximum effort 7. 6 months.
Talk about this game being
decent. Why did it have to come back with the delayed decent? Why is everybody so upset about the block button? You learn how to do it really fast. Trust me, when you play Mortal Kombat, like within 2 days, you'll be like, oh yeah, I don't even think about it anymore. Yeah, if you played Soul Calibur, you'll figure it out. Using a block button is pretty easy. I just wanted to rant about Mortal Kombat for a while because I'm excited for it. A lot of people have asked me, the most important question I keep getting asked is if I'm going to do character breakdowns. And the answer is yes. I'll do character breakdowns in Mortal Kombat 11. I'll probably do them on stream. Other things people talked about, 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 5. Historically, NRS games have been 3 out of 5 the last couple iterations. I think you should see what the game is like and then decide based on that, right? When the first few locals happen and there's like 100 players, it needs to be 2 out of 3. And the first big tournaments when nobody knows how to play the game, so the matches take forever, it probably needs to be 2 out of 3. Maybe 2 out of 3 until top 8 or something. I think pause rematch is a great feature. I feel like everybody I've seen who complains about pause rematch doesn't play NRS games. And I feel like everybody who doesn't complain about pause rematch and likes it plays NRS games. So when I read people complaining about pause rematch who are like, you know, they play it when the game comes out for like 10 minutes and they're like, yeah, it's sick. And then they just never play it again. NRS players like pause rematch. I fucking like pause rematch. I think pause rematch is great. It's one of my favorite things that they've added. So pause rematch is, in NRS games, when you pause the game after it's over, go down, hit rematch, hit yes, it instantly loads you back into the game. You don't have to wait for the victory screen, into the rematch, into the load the stage, into the, you know, the etc., right? Like think about Tekken. You know when Tekken match ends and they do the outro and then they have to go back to character select and then the stage select, they hit yes, they wait for that to load, stage is picked, load into the new stage, intros play because it's on tournament mode. It takes so long to get into the next match, right? It takes so fucking long. In NRS games, you die, and before your body's flying through the air, it hasn't even landed on the concrete, pause rematch. It's really nice. Now, I will agree that in tournament, pause rematch can be like kind of, it has like a weird feeling to it. You know, it's like kind of weird in a tournament setting. But I don't want pause rematch gone for the game in general, because when I'm playing casuals, I want to be able to pause rematch. Like, I just want to be able to grind and play a lot of games. For a player, I want pause rematch in the game. Do I think they should always do it in tournament? Not necessarily. And I think at least for the final game, whenever somebody wins, you should hit them with a fatality or something, right? Or you should do something like that, at least. NRS players, when the game is new, should let the intros rock and do the fatalities. I know that, like, at the tournament players, because it will get people excited about the game, because they'll be seeing these fucking fatalities, they'll be seeing all these intros and shit. People will be like, this is fucking tight. Like, I have no idea what's happening. The casual viewer, it's just like, you know, in Dragon Ball, they always let the intros rock. It's the same thing. You gotta, it makes people who don't know much about the game excited, and it's like, you know, it's interesting. Once the game has been out for a year, or not even a year, 6 months, once Evo passes or whatever, do whatever you want, right? Who cares? But I think in the beginning, they should probably do it. As far as like removing pause rematch as an option, shut the fuck up. No. Pause rematch should absolutely stay. I don't want pause rematch to be gone because you don't like it in tournament mode. I want pause rematch in the game so that when I'm playing casuals, offline at a local or something, I can do pause rematch and play 100 games in a row instead of 70 because I have to wait for these fucking intros and outros and shit.